Hey guys, Andy here. So I actually got Superhot back at Christmas, that's like 10 months ago, but only last week did I finally get around to buying some Move controllers. So today I'm going to talk you through Superhot on PlayStation VR. I think reviewing VR games is actually quite tricky because you only really get a proper feeling for them when you're in that virtual reality yourself. So I can try and explain it to you. I can try and tell you it feels like you're there and all this sort of thing. You don't really get it until you put that headset on and you feel it for yourself. But anyway, I will make my best attempt to explain it to you. The other problem with VR games is that a lot of them require the character to move. So probably most of you out there, if you're watching this, you've played Counter-Strike. Now, if you imagine Counter-Strike in VR, it would be amazing. There is a game, Zero Dawn Control, I don't know, I feel it's called, I've got it, which is supposed to be Counter-Strike in VR. But the problem is you can't really move around. You can't really walk around the map or run around the map like you would when you're playing Counter-Strike on your PC. So that's a big problem for VR because I don't think, for me, it doesn't work that they implement kind of control movements on the gun that mean that you move and look around. That kind of breaks the reality to me. Then you've got kind of driving games and flying games, a bit of a halfway house in that when you're driving, you're sat stationary in a seat, which is fine. That's what you can do on your couch. But in reality, you're moving and the VR can't, or your brain doesn't quite get it because your eyes are telling you you're moving and your inner ear saying you're not, you sat stationary on the seat. So that might make you feel ill. The best way that VR works is if the character is stationary. For example, I think I reviewed a game called Headmaster where you're stood in the penalty area on a football pitch, I suppose, and the ball's being crossed in and you're heading the ball around obstacles into hoops or goals or whatever it might be. It really works because the character in the game is stationary. And that's the same for Superhot. So it's a shooting game, but it's not about moving around and positioning and things. It's about it's more of a puzzle game, in fact. But the first thing I want to address is the graphics, because I think some people are going to say these graphics are terrible because they're quite basic, but that's okay. Because it's more of a puzzle game, I think it fits that the graphics are very basic like that. If it was trying to be a shooter, then yeah, realistic graphics might work. But actually a puzzle game, the kind of almost stickmen, simplistic graphics, it works really well, especially with the ragdoll physics. It kind of enables you to feel good when you point a shotgun at someone's head and from close range and they go flying backwards. You don't feel perhaps bad or anything because it's quite a realistic graphic. No, it's not. It's just a stickman. Boom, see you later. The clever thing with Superhot, the kind of what makes it clever, what makes it sort of addictive, I suppose, is its use of kind of a bullet time sort of setup in that, well, it's not, I shouldn't call it bullet time because that's specific to one game, but it's a slow motion aspect where the game only progresses quicker when you're moving your hands. So if you keep your hands very stationary, things move really, really slowly. That gives you opportunity to assess your situation and work out your plan. It's only when you go for a gun, perhaps, that things then start moving again. So the point of the game is to progress through the different scenarios, killing the red men, and staying alive, obviously. The scenario ends if you get hit by a bullet or hit by one of the red men. Usually a scenario starts and there are things within reach, but not always guns. Sometimes it's a bottle, sometimes there's a knife, sometimes there's a throwing star dropping out of the sky that you've got to catch and throw at them. Sometimes you start totally empty-handed and nothing within reach, and you've basically got to avoid all the danger, like bullets or the red men getting close to you, until you can get hold of someone else's weapon. You can apparently hit their bullets from the air with a knife or a sword, but I've not actually tried to do that, if I'm honest. I find throwing things doesn't generally work. It seems really hard to time the release of your button to the trajectory of the item you're trying to throw. And unless they're very close, I generally miss people. I do wonder if I should be playing standing up, which gives me more movement up and down, and possibly laterally as well, I suppose, to avoid the bullets. Again, I've not actually tried that. I don't know, maybe I'm too lazy. I play it sat down. But that's kind of it. It's a very simple premise, but I think it works really well, and it's such an addictive game. The only criticism I can find from other people online is that it's quite a short game. So there's only about 2 hours of gameplay in total. I don't know if that includes all the failed attempts, because I was having to redo some of the missions several times, and it could mean that it'd be 4 or 5 hours perhaps for me to get through. I think I read there was about 19 different scenarios. I couldn't tell you how many I've done, to be honest, because they batched them together in 3 or 4. I don't know if that's one of the 19 or the 3 or 4 is part of the 19. I'm not entirely sure. I must have done more than 19 of the individual things though, so it's got to be the batches, of which I've only done, I would guess, 4 or 5, maybe more. Once you've completed, you get to do either endless mode or challenge mode. So challenge mode is just kind of, here are your challenges, complete this level without using a gun, stay alive for 10 minutes, all things like that, just challenges that you would need to complete, headshots only. Endless mode, I think, is basically you choose a different scenario. There's maybe 5 scenarios, you choose one, and then there's just waves of the red guys coming at you. You've got to stay alive and kill as many of them as you can, which seems pretty good, to keep the longevity of the game. I would assume you can play back through the levels you've done as well. It would have been quite nice if there was some kind of I don't know, timer or a bullets used kind of score system on the scenarios as you went through, because that would give you something to go back and try and beat. For me, for $15.99, if you've got the Move controllers already, for me it's a must buy. It's such an addictive game. It's the VR experience, it works so well. The Move controllers, although they're not gun shaped, because you've got a trigger, they work really well as guns. You feel like you're shooting the gun, you can aim down the barrels and shoot people. It's just such an addictive game. So, I'd love to know your thoughts. Please leave them in the comments down below. If you haven't already, make sure you click up here to subscribe. You might want to check out other videos on my channel that will appear up here. But for now, my name's Andy, and I'll catch you all again soon.